Hello, so I'm going to show you in this video how to crochet the Starry eye pattern that I just finished, and it's super cute. I really like it. It's got like this really nice sort of eye base color and then this star detail that overlays over the top. Let's see, I've got another one that I've started in different colors. It kind of shows you the star pattern. It's got a little more contrast so you can see like there's a round pupil, and then the base color has these double crochets that come down with treble crochets that are sort of crocheted together at the top that make this nice little star sort of pattern. And then, you know, of course it's got the white around the eye, and then this accent color in the border, and then an outer border, so there's plenty of room to play with colors and see what you like. And I've got another version that's sort of purples and greens. Oops. So this one is a panel, and I can't decide if it's going to be a pillow or like a bag or what it's going to be, but I like how it came out. So there's a blue version with like a minty green and a magenta, and then there's yellow over magenta. And this is the first one that I made. I changed the pattern a little bit. You can see like the pink and the purple just didn't contrast as much as I wanted. And then the pupil, I started off doing the first round this black, but I ended up liking liking it where the first two rounds excuse me, are like the pupil color, and then the next two rounds after that are like the base eye color. It's just the larger pupil just like looked nice to me. But I mean, if you like it better where there's just more of the eye color showing and a smaller pupil, you can do that too. You just make round two the same color as the rest of your eye color if you wanted to do that. And then this one I just finished off with the linen stitch border, and each square is joined with slip stitches that makes this nice textural join. So anyway, there's a lot of possibilities with this to play with different colors, but I really wanted to try doing some treble crochets together to make like sort of this textural sort of decorative motif. Okay, so information that you will need to get started. So I'm using, excuse me, I'm kind of congested with the weather changing and stuff lately, but 5mm hook, you see. And this is Tulips Edamo. I just really like the way they feel in my hand. They're a little more expensive, but they're really good hooks and they'll last you a while, so if you want that. And this one's got a little bit of washi tape on it just because I have a whole set that are red like this, and I was mixing up my hooks, so I would start with one hook size and then accidentally grab another hook size, and of course that messes up your whole project. Let's see what else. And then we're using a worsted weight yarn, which is just 4 medium weight, and it's really common and there's a lot of colors. And the only other kind of yarn I'm using is a thinner, like 3 lightweight. And this you're using the worsted weight for every round except round 5. And round 5 I would suggest switching to a 3 light yarn, just because it makes the star detail a little sharper, but it's up to you. You could use worsted weight yarn for the whole thing, but I just kind of liked it better with round 5 being a little bit of a thinner, darker, high contrast yarn. So I think that's all. Yep, that's it. So we can get into the crochet rounds now. Okay, so round 1, and I use my little dice to help keep track of what round I'm on, so hopefully I remember to turn it as we go. We'll see how that works. So for the pupil, that's round 1. You can use pretty much any color you want. I was using black for all the other ones, but for this tutorial I'm going to use a slightly lighter dark blue, so hopefully you can see the stitches a little better and it will still look like an eye. But so round 1 is going to start with a magic circle, and there's a couple different ways to do it, but the way that I like to do it is sort of wrap my yarn the way I would to crochet, and then I wrap the tail around my 2 fingers so that the source is coming over the top and back around, and my tail is here. So then you're going to take your hook and go under the first strand and hook the second one through and then rotate it towards yourself and then yarn over. Then pull the yarn through that little loop that you made. And then you have your magic circle, or I've heard it called an adjustable ring or a magic ring. Excuse me. So then after you do that, you chain one, and then you're going to do 8 half double crochets into the magic ring, making sure that you crochet over this tail. So yarn over. There's one. And if you want to, if it makes it easier, you can put a stitch marker in that first half double crochet so that when you get back around, you know exactly where to slip stitch into. But after a while, you'll be able to recognize the stitches, so it won't matter. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And if you lose track of your stitches, like I do sometimes, you can count backwards from that last stitch that you made. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and your stitch marker is in the first one, so that's 8. Then you pull your circle closed. You don't have to pull super hard, but you know, just make sure that it's closed, and then put your needle, or your hook back in the loop, and you're going to slip stitch into the back loop of that first half double crochet that you made, like this. Just slip stitch right through. You can take your stitch marker out now. And then that is the end. Yep, that's the end of round 1. To start round 2, you're going to work 2 single crochet increases into each stitch, and all that means is when you're doing an increase, you're putting 2 stitches. You're working 2 stitches into 1, so like this. So, and then if you're not really sure which stitch you're supposed to start into, so this is your chain 1, but this was the last stitch of round 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you'll work into this stitch first. I hope you can see that. So there, right there, beep. Right here, that's your chain 1, and the last stitch of round 1 was here. So if you count backwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is your 8th stitch. So this is the first stitch that you'll work into. Okay, so I hope I didn't explain that too much, but for people that, like, I know that figuring out which stitch to start into is kind of hard for me to see at first, so hopefully taking a little more time to explain will help some people, and hopefully it's not too annoying for people that already know this. But so we're going to do our first 2 single crochet increase here. So 1 single crochet in that first stitch, and then 2 single crochet into the same stitch. And again, if you would like to, you can mark that first single crochet, so when you come back around, it's easy to identify. So then we're just going to put 2 single crochets into each stitch until you have 16 single crochets all the way around. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, oop, just the back loops, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Okay, so then you're back around. This is your first single crochet, and this is the chain 1 where you start at the beginning of the round. So we're just going to cut our yarn, pull the tail out like this, and then we're going to weave in well, then we're going to do an invisible join to close up the round. We're not going to be using this pupil color again, so we're just going to go ahead and cut the yarn and then do an invisible join. And to do an invisible join, I like to just lay my stitches kind of flat, and then you're going to make the invisible join over this first stitch of the round. So you'll skip over and go through both loops of that next stitch right past it, and then pull your yarn. I'm going to take this stitch marker out now because I don't need it. And then you're going to go right back down into the center of the last stitch you made. And that is your invisible join, and just pull it until it looks like all the other stitches around it. Okay, and now we were on to round 3. So round 3 is going to be the first round of our eye color. And I'm going to use this, what color is this? This is Impeccable Aqua in 4 medium. So for round 3, we're going to join our new color, and you can just join it into the back loop of any stitch. It doesn't matter. And to join, you're just going to pull up a loop and chain 1 and then tighten it down. And that doesn't count as your first stitch. That's just joining the new color. And then the repeat for round 3 is going to be 1 single crochet and then a 2 single crochet repeat. So again, that means you're going to do 1 single crochet, and you can mark your stitch, and then the 2 single crochet repeat is just going to be 2 single crochets in this next stitch. So 2, 3. And when it goes alternating single and increases, sometimes I lose count and I end up with 2 increases together or whatever. So I usually count in my head 1, 2, 3. And I know that 3 has to go into the same stitch as the one before it, if that makes sense. So I'll go 1 single crochet, and then the increase is 2, 3. And I'm crocheting in my tail, so that way I can just trim it off when I'm done. And then 1 single crochet, and then 2 single crochet increase in the next stitch. And you'll keep going around 1 single crochet, 2 here, 1 here, 2 here, 1 here, 2, until you get all the way to the end. I'm getting a little tongue tangled. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video here, and I will meet you when we get back to the last couple stitches. Okay, so now we're back to the last repeat. But anyway, so we'll do the final 1 single crochet, and then the last 2 single crochet repeat will go into that same stitch that you joined into at the beginning. So 1 and 2. Okay, and that is the end of round 3. On to round 4. So at the end of round 3, you didn't slip stitch or anything into the beginning of the round, and the reason is because when you get to round 4, you're not going to connect to the beginning or the first stitch of the previous round. Like, you're just going to immediately start your first stitch, which the repeat for round 4 is a double crochet followed by 3 single crochets, but that first single crochet after the DC is an increase. So that means it's not going into the same stitch as another stitch necessarily. Well, it's going into the stitch that would be open behind the double crochet, if that makes sense. But I'll show you so that you can see what I'm talking about. So the first stitch of round 4, you're going to yarn over, and then you're going to drop straight down from that first stitch and pick up this front loop from round 2. Yarn over, pull through, and give it a little slack so that you don't crush your stitches. And that's your first stitch of round 4. And then you're going to have 3 single crochets, but the first one needs to go into the stitch that would be open behind the double crochet. So this first stitch from round 3, you need to put the single crochet in there, and then you do your other 2. So I'll do the repeat again for you. So it goes a double crochet, and you're going to drop straight down from the next stitch you would have worked into and hook into that front loop from round 2. Yarn over, give it a little slack, pull through 2, and there's your second double crochet. And then it's an increase after that. So you can see, try to make sure you can see. So normally a double crochet would sit on top of the stitch in the previous round well, this is for Mosaic Crochet specifically. So if you want to do an increase, you need to go into that loop behind the, I hope this makes sense. I hope it does. Like, you can see, I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense, but if you see what I'm doing, then hopefully you'll be able to get it. It's not hard, but I just wonder if people will be able to tell what they're supposed to do from the written instructions, because I haven't done anything like this before. So 1, 2, 3, and that's your repeat. And I'm going to do it one more time just in case it helps. So yarn over it and go straight down from the next stitch, pick up the front loop that's left open from round 2, and then finish your double crochet, and then 3 single crochets. The first one goes behind in that loop behind the double crochet, 2, 3. Okay, so that's 3 repeats for this round. So I am going to, and if you wanted to put your stitch marker in, it would go in right here over your double crochet, because that was the first stitch of the round. Okay, so I'm going to stop here. I'm going to finish this round, and then I will meet you back when we get to the last couple of stitches. Okay, so we're back at the last repeat of round 4. So another thing I wanted to point out is if you look at round 2, the double crochets come down and go into every other stitch of round 2. So that means it leaves a stitch open, a front loop open between each of the double crochets, and you'll need that later. So I just wanted to show you, because that'll help you kind of know where to put your stitches. So on our last repeat of a double crochet, and then your increase, your first single crochet is an increase, so it goes in behind that loop, or in the loop behind the double crochet, and then 2 and 3, and this is your last stitch. So you can go, or the last round of this eye color, so you can cut your yarn, pull out your tail, and then we're going to do an invisible join so that that tail is nice and tidy. Take out that stitch marker. Okay, so you just lay your stitches down, you know how they would lay when they're all finished and in place, and you're going to make the invisible join over the stitch here. Go under both the front and the back loop of that next stitch, and kind of just arrange your yarn so that it sits neatly over the top, and then go straight down into the center of the last loop, or the last stitch that you made, and that is the end of round 4. Okay, so now on to round 5, and remember at the beginning I told you you could use a thinner weight yarn like 3 light, just to make the star detail on the eye just a little sharper, a little crisper. But you can use, you know, worsted weight or whatever you want, but I just liked how that looked better. So you're going to join the new yarn, which is just pull up a loop and then chain 1 and tighten it down. And that's not your first stitch, but you need to join into the stitch directly above one of your double crochets, and it doesn't matter which one. So the repeat for round 5, this one's fun, but it's a little tricky. So the repeat is 3 single crochets and then 2 treble crochets together, and you'll repeat that 7 times. So this is what that looks like. You'll go 1 single crochet into the first 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3. Make sure that's on screen. So join 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to do a treble crochet that goes down into the pupil here, and then you're not going to finish it off. Before you finish off the last 2 loops, you're going to start another treble, and it's going to go down on this side of the double crochet into this this open front loop from round 2. So that's why you need one open front loop in between each double crochet, because that's where your trebles are going to anchor into. So I'll show you what that looks like. So you're going to yarn over twice to start your treble crochet, and you're going to go straight down to that open front loop that we left from round 2. Yarn over, pull through that loop and give it a little slack. Pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops, and you'll have 2 loops left on your hook like this. And now you're going to go ahead and you're not going to finish this off, but you're going to start a second treble crochet. So yarn over twice and then go down to the open front loop on this side of the double crochet. Pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops, and then you're going to have 3 loops on your hook. So you're going to yarn over one more time and pull through all 3 loops, and that's your 2 trebles together. See, there's your first point. So then the repeat, I'll show you again. It's 3 single crochets, one in the next 3 stitches, and then you're going to start your treble together. So yarn over twice, go into that same front loop as the last treble crochet, yarn over, pull through those 2 loops, pull through another 2 loops, and then before you finish off that treble crochet, you're going to start the next treble. So pull through, and then you're going to have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over one more time and pull through all 3. Okay, and now we are back to the other end. There's just one more repeat left to do, so I will work that with you and then show you how to finish off round 5. So you've got 3 single crochets, one in the next 3 stitches, and then you're going to do treble crochet, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, leaving 2 loops on your hook, and then you're going to yarn over twice again, and then you're going to go into that front loop that the very first treble went into. So you're going to close up your star pattern right here. 2, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3, and that is the last stitch of round 5. So then you'll cut your yarn, pull the tail out, and then grab your darning needle, and you're just going to invisible join. So lay your stitches down the way they would naturally fall. So here's your treble, and then your 1, 2, 3 single crochets here. You're going to make the invisible join over this one, so go into both loops of the next stitch. And then just pull and position your yarn in place, and then go back down into the center of the last stitch you made, which is the 2 trebles together for this round. Okay, and that closes up round 5. Okay, now round 6. So you're gonna, this is the white of the eye. So you're gonna grab white yarn or whatever color you like, it doesn't matter. So we're gonna join into, let's see, where do you join into? Okay, so this stitch right above the trebles together. And since this is a lighter yarn just to join, I want to grab this, just the back loop, hope you can see, and then one other loop from just kind of back behind, so that you can see, like, you want to leave the front loop open, so don't go into that, but like the back loop, and then just grab another strand from somewhere in the back and pull up a loop and chain 1 and then tighten it down, and then you're joined and ready to go for round 6. So the repeat for round 6 is going to be 3 single crochets and then a 2 single crochet increase, and you do that 7 times. So how that's going to look is you're going to go 1, 2, 3 single crochets, and then you're going to put 2 single crochets into the stitch above your trebles. So 1 and 2. So that's all that is. I like to pull on the tail, just sort of tighten up that join, so you just have your first stitch sitting like that. Okay, so we'll go over the repeat one more time. So you're going to do a single crochet in the next one in the next 3 stitches, 2, oop, and I'm getting off screen again, sorry, 3, and then you're going to do a 2 single crochet increase above the treble. And that's all there is to round 6. So I'm gonna make my way all the way around and I'll meet you when we get back to the other end. Okay, so now we're back to the last repeat of round 6. So we'll do our 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, and then our last 2 single crochet increase is going to go into the same stitch that we joined into at the beginning, and just go under and grab another strand from the back. Make sure you don't grab the front loop, just the back loop. 1 and 2. Okay, so to make sure that it looks clean where round 6 starts and ends and where round 7 starts and ends, I treated the join a little differently. So when you get to the end of round 6, you're going to do an invisible slip stitch join. So the way you do that is you take your loop off your hook, go in through the back of the back loop, and then you're going to put your loop back on your hook and pull it through to the back like that. And that's going to close up your round and make it look a little cleaner. Just kind of tighten it up a little bit. So that is how it will look at the end of round 6 with an invisible slip stitch. Okay, on to round 7. So you did your invisible slip stitch to end round 6, and then to start round 7 you're going to do a standing single crochet, and all that means is you're going to have your loop on your hook. You're going to go back into the same stitch, pull up a second loop like this, and then yarn over, pull through, and that's your first single crochet. You can put a stitch marker in it just to mark it so when you get back around. So for round 7 you're going to do 4 single crochets, 1 in the next 4 stitches, and then you're going to chain 2, and then after that, that's when the repeat starts. So to get the round started, 1, or this is your second, so you're standing single crochet, 2, 3, 4, and just to keep an eye on your stitch placement and make sure that it's going to the right place. So the last stitch that you make before chain 2 is going to go into the first stitch of this increase. Can you see? You can see the 2 little V's of the increase are going into this same stitch, like right here. You see? So the last single crochet of the repeat is going to go into that first stitch of the increase, and then you're going to chain 2, and the next single crochet is going to go into the second stitch of the increase. So you did 4 single crochets and then chain 2, and then the repeat is 5 single crochets and a chain 2. So 1, 2, make sure that I'm on screen, 3, 4, 5. So 5 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a chain 2. And you see your last single crochet has fallen into that first stitch in this increase right here. And then your single crochet into that second stitch in the increase. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 single crochets, and then a chain 2, and that's all there is to the repeat. Okay, so we're back, and this is the final repeat of round 7. So you'll do your 5 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you're going to end with and then chain 2. And so the very end you're going to need to do 1 more single crochet, because remember, to get to the right spot to start your next repeat, you had to do 4 single crochets and then a chain 2. So you need the 1 last single crochet for this side. So you're going to do 1 single crochet here, and then that's the end. And then this is where you'll cut your yarn, because we're done with the white yarn for the white of the eye. Pull out your tail, and then you're going to weave in or do your invisible join. Okay, so now we're at round 8, and this is going to be your accent color. So this is the round where you build the corners and turn your shape into a square. Those 2 chains that you did at the point at the end of each side, just go into, join into that second chain. Pull up a loop, chain 1, and tighten down. Okay, so the repeat for round 8 is going to be a half double crochet, a double crochet, an extended double crochet, and I'll show you how to do that. A chain 2, and then it goes in reverse. So then it'll be an extended double crochet, half crochet, and then 9 single crochets will bring you back to the next corner where you start that over again. So you're going to do a half crochet in the next stitch, so yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and that's your half double crochet. And then you're going to do a double crochet, so yarn over, go in through that back loop only, pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops. And then we're going to do, this is how you do the extended double crochet, and so that you can get a nice clean point in the corner, just square it off. An extended crochet is just a little bit higher than a double crochet, and it's because of the way you pull through the loops. So you're going to yarn over like you're starting a double crochet, go into the back loop, pull up a loop, and then you're going to yarn over and just pull through that one first loop. And you'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So it's just like doing a double crochet, except you're going to go through 1 loop first. Okay, so I'll show you again. So then you're going to do your chain 2, and your next extended double crochet is going to go into the exact same stitch as the first one that you made. So yarn over, go through that back loop, okay, and you got 3 loops on your hook, and then yarn over, pull through just 1 of those loops, and then pull through 2, pull through 2. It's not hard, it's a handy stitch to know if, well, if you're building corners or something where like you just need a little more height. And I would at this point grab my tail and just tighten that join a little bit so that you don't see it later when you close up the round. And now we're going to continue to the other side of the corner and just yarn over and double crochet, yarn over, half double crochet, and that is your corner. And then the rest of the repeat is 9 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so your 9th single crochet should go into the second chain. Your 8th and 9th single crochet will go into the corner chains right there. It starts with a half double crochet, and then a double crochet, and then I'll go over the extended double crochet. So you yarn over like you're doing a double crochet, go in through the back loop, pull up a loop, and then you yarn over and just pull through 1 loop first, and then pull through 2, pull through 2, and that's your extended double crochet. And then chain 2, and then go back into this same stitch for your next extended double crochet. Pull through 1 loop, pull through 2 loops, pull through the last 2 loops, and then yarn over, you do your double crochet, and then a half double crochet, and then you'll do another 9 single crochets, and that's your repeat. So I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to finish and meet you back at the last couple of stitches at the end of the round. So now we're back to the end of round 8. We've just got 3 more stitches. So do the last 3 single crochets at the end of this repeat, And your last single crochet is going to go into the same stitch that you joined into here. And then if you want to use this color for the border too, then you wouldn't tie off, but I'm going to do a different color. So I'm going to cut the yarn, do an invisible join real quick. So for round 9, you can join into any stitch just somewhere in the middle of a side. So go through the back loop, or if you want to, you can go through both loops. Either way, if you could just go through the back loop, you'll have this nice little sort of twisted edge detail. If you go through both loops, then it's just a little more securely joined. It just depends on what you like. For this one, I'm going to go through both loops and pull up a loop and chain 1 to join. And then I'm going to crochet in my tail so that I don't have to weave it in later. So you're just going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch until you get to the corner. And I will show you, the corners are all treated the exact same way, and it's very simple. 3, 4, 5, and then you're going to single crochet. If you go under both loops, you're going to single crochet into the chain space. If not, you would go into here. But if you were just, well, if you were just going into the back loop only, you would go into the back loop of this stitch and then chain 2 and then go into the back stitch of this one too. But I'm going through both loops because I like how that looks for the edging border on these. And I'm going to take a second to just pull this tight so that it kind of tucks in where you joined, and it makes a nice little flat edge for your stitches to line up with when you come back around. But anyway, so I'm going to go into the chain space to do the last single crochet, and then I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to rotate my work and do another single crochet into that same chain space. So from corner chains to corner chains, you're going to have 17 stitches. So that's really all you kind of need to keep an eye on. So that way, if you decide to join your squares later, then they have an even number of stitches on the edges, which makes it easier to join them. So 1, and then 2, 3, 4. Make sure that you can see what I'm doing. Yep, okay. 4, 5, and that's probably enough stitching or crocheting in that tail, so I'm going to tuck that out of the way. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then get out of the way, tail. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17 into the chain space, and then chain 2. Okay. Oh, well, I'll show you how to do the corner one more time. So you'll do single crochet into the chain space, chain 2, and then your next single crochet will go into that same chain space. So that's your first single crochet of this row, and there'll be 17 to the next corner. So I'm going to stop here. I'm going to go all the way around, and then I will meet you when we get back to the beginning. Okay, so we're back at the round, the end of round 9. So this is the final round. So since you started in the middle, you just need to keep an eye on your stitch count on this side to make sure that you have 17 single crochets across and then 2 chains on either end. So 1, do the last 3 single crochets, and your final single crochet is going to go into the same stitch that you joined into right here. And then you just need to take a quick look and make sure that you have 17 stitches across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. So my stitch count is right. So cut the yarn, pull the tail out so that you can do your invisible join. Okay, so that is how you finish up round 9. So this highlight is just a French knot, and you'll have the yarn come up through the stitches a little closer to the center, and then you'll go over a couple of strands so that when you go back down through the fabric to finish your French knot, it's got a little bit of yarn in between the white to kind of hold it in place so that it doesn't fall apart, and your French knot sits on top and it doesn't sink into the stitches. So you'll go up through the bottom, and then you're going to pull till you just have enough yarn on the back to tie a knot when you're done. So then you're going to wrap the yarn around your darning needle 3 times, 1, 2, 3, like this. So you go over top and under, over the top and under, over the top and under, so that you kind of have 3 little loops on your hook, and just hold this top loop right here so it doesn't slide off the end of your hook, or not your hook, your needle. And then you're going to go over just like a strand or 2, a little closer to the edge, and then go down, but not all the way, because you need to grab your yarn and sort of just pull it so that it's snugly wrapped around your darning needle, and then just hold it taut and grab your needle and kind of just twist it a little if it doesn't go through smoothly, and gently pull. And that is your French knot. And your little eye highlight, and sort of just wiggle it around and position it, you know, where it looks nice to you. And then you're going to flip it over, and you're done with your darning needle. You can just trim part of your yarn, and you're just going to make a couple of knots at the back to secure it in place. Okay, looks nice. Okay. And then I like to just knot it 3 times just to make sure that it's nice and secure. And then once that's done, I just go in with my yarn snips pretty close to the knot, but not cutting into the knot. And then just trim back the yarn so that you've got just a little dot on the back, because there's not really any place on the back to weave in white yarn into the pupil. So, and that is how you make my starry eye crochet square. Ta-da! I really hope you guys have fun making these, because they're really simple. Once you know how to do them, like, they're really quick and they're fun, and there's so much room to play with colors, and they're just cute. So you guys have fun, and if you get a chance to make a few of these, like, post pictures online and tag me, because I always love seeing what you guys make. And then I'll put some additional information, text, whatever, in the video description. So thank you guys. Have fun. Happy stitching. Bye.